Ladies and gentlemen, our 2020 Teachers of the Year. Welcome to our 28th Robert W. Hughes Teacher of the Year reception for the Alachua County Public Schools. I just wanted to share a little bit about the work that we do at the Education Foundation and why it's so important for us to be involved in this event and to recognize each of you. We offer different classroom grant opportunities such as Catalyst for Change. We've supported teachers through professional development opportunities, through the launching of the AVID program, and it's really a joy to kind of stand on the sidelines and watch the amazing things that happen within our Alachua County Public Schools. Someone who also is very supportive and member of our board is our superintendent, Karen Clark, who I'd like to call up and have her say a few things. I know that she carries a unique passion with her from all of her experiences growing up in the Alachua County Public Schools. I don't want to steal any of your thunder, so sorry, but just am really thankful for our superintendent and hope you know what a wonderful advocate she is for you all. So Karen?
Well, good evening and welcome. Today is the best day. As I talked to people as I came in, everybody said, this is like the best night of the year. And that was unsolicited by so many different people, some community folks, some teachers, some principals. And I would agree, anytime we get to celebrate, it's the best day. So before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our school board members. First, our board chair, Ms. Eileen Roy, who's here on the stage. Our vice chair, Dr. Leonetta McNeely. Mrs. Tina Surton. Dr. Gunnar Paulson. And Mr. Rob Hyatt. Now tonight we have our winners that we know were selected by their peers to represent each of our schools. And while there can only be one winner from each school, we know that each one of you represents so many outstanding educators that you work alongside every day. It takes each one of you and incredible support staff members to work alongside you to provide the best possible experience for our children. So tonight I would like to take a brief moment to recognize a very special group of individuals, teachers and support staff that come alongside each other to provide the best possible experience for our children, but also to support one of their own. You can't miss them. They're over here all dressed in yellow, and these are our Wyckoff's Warriors. Wyckoff's Warriors, stand up. You see, Kelly Wyckoff this year is Newberry Elementary's Teacher of the Year, and unfortunately she can't be with us tonight as she is in the hospital. Her Panther family is here to support her, and her son Landon will be walking across the stage tonight to accept the award on her behalf. Now, Kelly's also the first grade team leader, so he's going to be joined by also the first grade team from Newberry Elementary School. So Kelly, we miss you tonight, but we know that you're here with us in spirit. Keep up your fight. Keep fighting, and we are all behind you 100%. To our school-based Teachers of the Year and to all of our teachers, congratulations. What I want you to take away from tonight is you have so many people in this community that recognize the hard work that you do every day. Tonight we get to show it, it's on display, but we want to make sure that you know that we recognize the importance of the work that you're doing, not just the reading and the writing and the math, but those special experiences you provide for your students each and every day. And I know we don't tell you enough, but we appreciate you more than you know. Our parents appreciate you more than you know, and our community appreciates you more than you know. And we want to make sure that we celebrate. Your work is to be celebrated. So congratulations to all of you for being named Teachers of the Year for 2020. And I would now like to turn the podium over to our school board chair, Ms. Eileen Roy.
Tonight, we're here to celebrate our Teacher of the Year finalists, and just as importantly, to recognize the vital contributions of all our Alachua County teachers. Every day, teachers impart the best of themselves to their students. What they contribute, whether useful or inspiring, will forever be part of those children. We never forget our best teachers. Teachers are altruistic. They put aside their own worries and enter another world when they walk into their classrooms. They know that children's family and the future are depending on them. Teachers are resilient and even tough. As they navigate the many mandates and new laws imposed on teachers and the efforts to blame them for society's failures, they stand tall and forge ahead. Tonight, I notice how many teachers are here to support the finalists, and that reminds me of another character trait that distinguishes teachers: solidarity. Teachers know they're stronger together. Helping and supporting each other makes us invincible. Bonuses? Who needs bonuses? Give us a fair salary instead. Thank you. So let's remember today to thank a teacher, for society as we know it would not exist but for their efforts. Thank you, teachers all. Thank you.
So we have a few unique aspects to this evening that always make this event extra special, and one of which is we always enjoy featuring a student performance. Tonight, we are going to be hearing from Barry Suzanne Collins, who is a member of the choral and drama programs at Buchholz High School. So please help me welcome to the stage Barry Suzanne.
Kiss today goodbye, the sweetness and the sorrow. Wish me luck the same to you, and I won't forget what I did for love, what I did for look, my eyes are dry. The gift was ours to borrow. It's as if we always knew. And I don't regret what I did for love, what I did for what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye, and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do. Won't forget, can't regret what I did for love, what I did for love, what I did for love. Love is never gone as we travel on. Love's what we'll remember. Kiss today goodbye, and point me toward tomorrow. We did what we had to do.
presenting sponsors tonight, and each one of them will be able to come and speak to you. I know we hear from a lot of companies and a lot of businesses, but I really encourage you to pay attention to these three. They have really given a significant amount of their, not just their money, but their time and their energy and their support to our Alachua County Public Schools. When you think about true partners, that's what these folks really embody, and it seems fitting to start with Florida Credit Union, and I'd love to invite Mark Starr, who's the president and CEO of Florida Credit Union. As I'm sure he'll say, they started as the Teachers Credit Union here in Alachua County. And I think many of you, if not all, have been to the breakfast they provide at the beginning of the year. They certainly have stepped up to the plate every time we ask. We ask a lot, can you help with this? Can you help bring our fifth graders to the Florida Stadium to watch a football game? And they always say yes, and we are so grateful for their support. And so I'd like to introduce Mark, and he'll introduce our high school teachers.
Thank you, Rachel, for the kind words. Good evening. Again, I'm Mark Starr from Florida Credit Union. And as Rachel said, Florida Credit Union was actually started in 1954 for the teachers and was originally called Alachua County Teachers Credit Union. We are owned by our members, who include many teachers of Alachua County. Originally, credit unions were formed in the earlier days. Teachers had trouble getting loans and credit, and that's one of the reasons Alachua County Teachers Credit Union was formed. All of us at the credit union are proud to be part of this event to recognize the excellent work these teachers have done. My wife is a teacher, so I know firsthand how hard all of you work. As parents, as business people, and as citizens, we understand how important teachers are to the success of our children and the success of our community. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our teachers for helping build a brighter future for all of us. Tonight, we would like to honor all of these educators who have gone above and beyond in the classroom and beyond. We would like to begin with our high school teachers of the year.
I'm going to tell you a verb form.
From the Alachua E School, Jean-Marie Clune-Rivnak.
And I want you to go to the subject. As Voltaire said in his novel Candide, tu es pour le mieux, dans le meilleur des mondes possibles, which means everything is for the best in the best of all possible worlds. And that's what hybrid learning is. It's the best of all possible worlds. Students are prepared educationally, professionally, and really develop better computer skills, tech skills, and communicate with others all around the world. And it's a wonderful blend. All right, quelle est la classe la plus populaire?
From Buchholz, Olariwaju Faiga.
I want you to see the connection between the class and your real life. Because if you don't see the connection, that's why many of you don't put in your best. And that is why I put in all the time I do so that I can get them out of high school and be ready for life outside. Oh, what is teaching us has something to do with my real life. Then you tend to be more interested. And I want
Here from Eastside, Jane Alford.
This is how many kids who live in poverty have asthma. We explore real-world issues. We're thinking long-term, what are problems that our society is facing? And we're thinking about ways that we can solve those problems or ease the burden of those problems. On there, but one thing I want you guys to go in and do with your notes is every single slide I want you to say.
From Lanier, Jasmine Calderon Marquez.
Okay, ready, dip? Okay, now you do. Ooh.
Our priority is to make sure that they feel that they're an important part of our society, that they're just as important as everyone else. So we focus on daily living skills and fine motor. We just want all our children to feel like they're being treated with respect and dignity every day.
Fingers, good job. Pull, 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 pull. Good job.
From Hawthorne, Catherine Harrow.
How have they used this image to create that awareness that it's every... What I try to do is bring the real world into the classroom, because that's what they're going to be facing when they graduate. In the subject of English language arts, I want them to understand that language is an important an artistic part of expression. So if you scroll down to the first one, Bert, are you in?
From the Professional Academies magnet at Lofton, Chad R. Essery.
If we looked at it straight on, it would be flat. However, we are going to use this for these students will be the future, and I'm preparing them for that. I hopefully am inspiring them to absorb knowledge and then how to think and create from that. I'm not just giving them the little bits of knowledge in the courses that they take, but a desire to learn. 15 there. Anybody have their calculator?
From Newberry, Kyra Purvis.
So after week 1, what is going to be the simplest way to determine where his loan balance is? They have to be ready, but the main thing is they need to be ready for life. So we take it day by day, situation by situation, throw in some algebra, and have them ready to go out and be able to relate well with people, work with people, and be productive. Go back to your question. Are we doing what?
Minus 25.
Every what?
From Santa Fe High School, Brooke Bailey.
So how you present yourself and the animal. Showmanship is evaluating you. Majority of my students don't come from a farming background. We do a lot of activities in the classroom. We do a lot of activities hands-on. We have cattle here at Santa Fe. We have a greenhouse. We work with hydroponics. And what I'm trying to instill in them is that agriculture is impacting their everyday life, and they can take that home with them every single day. And remember, this is showmanship. You want to present that animal the best you possibly can.
So in each category, elementary, middle, and high school, there is a finalist, and at the end of this evening, one of those 3 will be named our Alachua County Teacher of the Year. And so to help me introduce our high school finalist, I would like to introduce and ask Keelan Fife to join me on stage.
She is a senior at Gainesville High School. Yeah, come on up, you can come on up. Nope, you're perfect, you are perfect. So welcome, this is quite a rap sheet. We have a lot of really talented kids, which you all know because you work with them every day. She's a lead volunteer at the Florida Museum of Natural History, also volunteers at Alachua County Teen Court, Suncoast Basset Rescue, and has presented her ideas for helping the less fortunate in Gainesville to Mayor Lauren Poe. She also told me that she didn't even tell Mr. Forgione everything. I think she's also in drama. She is the type of student that every teacher dreams of having, and I'm excited to introduce you to her this evening. So let's give a big round of applause for Keelan.
Thank you for that introduction. George Bernard Shaw famously said, "He who can does, he who cannot teaches." And I've got to say, that's a fairly ridiculous phrase. I'm confident that the educators in this room disprove that phrase often, and I assure you that Mr. Forgione disproves it every day. It's not your average or even above average person who chooses teaching over a job at a high-power company with what would surely be a larger salary, but it is Mr. Forgione. The value Mr. Forgione places on a good education and good educators is evident in everything he does. Whether lessons grow out of hard-hitting headlines or amusing anecdotes, Mr. Forgione always keeps us on our toes. From the ever-evolving, relevant class discussions and projects to the extracurriculars he sponsors, the unwavering encouragement he offers and the belief he has in all of us instills a sense of belief in ourselves and each other. As time goes on, his positive energy only grows stronger as he finds more ways to enlighten us and help us become both world citizens and good humans. A year and a half ago, Mr. Forgione shared his hope to increase computer time and overall internet experience for his students with his ACE economics class, and he's never stalled in his efforts to make that happen. If any of you get the chance to ask him about his laptop cart adventures tonight, I really recommend you do. A year ago, Mr. Forgione asked his students what would make us feel more prepared for the often dreaded end-of-course AP and ACE exams, and he not only took what we said to heart, but actually implemented our requests. I know myself and all of his students are endlessly grateful. 7 months ago, Mr. Forgione offered me the opportunity to turn my end-of-year economics project into a tool to promote positive change in Gainesville's community. I was able to present my ideas to the mayor. I and 3 fellow students found ourselves no longer sitting down as the world passed, but standing up and speaking out, thanks to Mr. Forgione. I want to say thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for teaching us to ask questions and looking for answers. Mr. Forgione's enthusiasm for teaching is boundless, and there is no teacher I respect more or would be more honored to present than he. Distinguished guests, please welcome Alachua County's High School Teacher of the Year, Mr. Joshua Forgione.
So where it says relatively affected by new firms, what does that mean? Like, do you think that they're going to be, that the other firm is going to have more profits when other firms come in, or less profits? Less.
But then I remember in class, wasn't this only for perfect competition?
Right, but remember we said that we were going to treat the monopolistic for yesterday, that we were going to treat it like perfect competition. The main thing would be that it does lower somewhat. So as long as you showed any sort of lowering of the horizontal line, you're good.
On the test, would we want to keep?
I don't know how you follow that. Good evening. As Keelan said, my name is Josh Forgione, but for most of my students, I'm just Forge. Now, most of the time, I take that as a term of endearment, but once in a while, it does get a little awkward. A few months ago, I'm having surgery, and they're in this back room. They give you that little hospital gown that doesn't really cover anything, and wheel me to the back and say, okay, we're going to have the nurse is going to come in and get you situated in a second. Door opens, nurse comes in, and all I hear is, Forge! What's up, Chase? Doc, you give me the gas. Give me the gas here. You have to have a sense of humor in the teaching profession, because it's never been harder to be a teacher than it is right now. Our students are facing some serious challenges, both in terms of poverty, academic pressures, mental health issues. At the same time, as teachers, we're often being told to raise expectations and yet lower standards. But in spite of that, I believe that there are a couple of things that we can do as teachers, and in fact, we can do as adults in general to help our young people. Now, full disclosure, I have the best job in Alachua County because I spend half my day working with kids that are competing for spots in prestigious universities, and I spend half my day working with ESE and ESOL and mainstream populations that are often coming from very difficult backgrounds. But I think these two things can work to help our young people across the board. The first thing I think we need to do is we need to be authentic. We need to sort of let our guard down a little bit and let the students see us not only as authority figures, but also as real people, as fallible human beings. Part of that, in some forms, that means when a lesson doesn't go well, we can actually stand in front of a group of adolescents and say, you know what, that's on me, guys, that was my bad. I'll do better tomorrow. In other cases, it may just be creating a relatable hook to get student engagement. So whenever we talk about inelastic demand or demand for necessary goods, the first thing we always talk about is toilet paper. That sounds ridiculous, right? Every one of you in this room at some point or another, you have yelled across the house, hey, hon, you bring me a roll of toilet paper here? Now, that's not dignified, and it's not academic, but it's real. And the more that we can get a little bit more real, okay, if we can get a little bit more real, I think we can engage our students and we can help them when we go into the meatier content. Now, unless you think that I'm trying to brag or anything like that, for the most part, my first couple of years, I was terrible. I look back and I thought I was going to be, Robin Williams in Dead Poet Society. I was awful those first couple of years. I look back and I feel bad for my students. But the reason that I got better was because I was surrounded by a group of teachers that got it, a group of teachers that were real and were authentic. Kathy Bergeron, Jamie Morris, Rodney Estes, Bob Wendt, Michelle Chitwood, titans of the profession where they had 5 classes, 6 classes, they had essays to grade, and yet they still took this younger teacher under their wing and helped me get better, and I'll be forever grateful to them for that. Second thing that I think we need to do as adults to help our young people is to show kindness. Now, I don't mean politeness, greet them at the door, and I don't mean a lack of accountability in changing grades. No, what I mean is relentless kindness. The kind of kindness where that kid is on your last nerve and you still go out of your way to encourage them. The kind of kindness where a student's academic performance does not allow you to necessarily build them up as a student, so instead you go and you try and build them up as individuals and as human beings. I don't typically share this for obvious reasons, but I had a student that wrote a letter to me. She was a student I had my second year. She wrote this letter about 5 or 6 years later, and I feel like I need to share it tonight. Hey, Forge, told you. I know you have 1 million students, so I'm not sure how much you remember about me. However, I remember you very well, and I wanted to share with you how grateful I am that I was lucky enough to have you as a teacher. Teacher's a funny word because you do so much more than teach, but impact me on a daily basis. I'm not sure you'll remember, but several times I showed up to your class with very visible, very deep bruises. Each time you pulled me aside, asked if everything was all right, and listened as I fed you an excuse I thought to be foolproof. You listened with the slightest trace of disbelief on your face, and you tell me that I should never settle for being treated for less than I am. I'm sure I rolled my eyes, thanked you, and walked away. But today I want you to know that you gave me so much strength and courage just in your encouraging words that I realized how much better I am than I let some lead me to believe back then. And I thank you. I thank you for showing me the positives when all I could see were negatives. I truly believe you saved my life, and I just want to say thank you. Guys, they're going to bury me with that. I care so much more about that than I do the EOC scores. I'm sorry, John, wherever you're at. And honestly, if that's the only legacy I ever have in the classroom, and aside from my wife and son, if that's the only legacy I have in life, I'm good with it. But that's not my legacy. That's the legacy of Kathy Bergeron and Jamie Morris and Rodney Estes and that group I mentioned earlier, because they showed me what kindness in the classroom was and how to try to reach students. I know I'm running long and I apologize, but there's one last person I gotta thank. Everyone in this room has one teacher that impacted their life in a dramatic way. For me, that was Mr. Carr. Mr. Carr taught for over 40 years at Riverview High School. He pushed me, he challenged me, he brought things out of me I didn't know I had. Mr. Carr is the reason I can stand up in front of all these people and be reasonably confident, is because what he instilled in me. He's also the reason I left the job in corporate finance to come do this, because I wanted to try to make an impact on other people the way he made an impact on my life. And so with that in mind, Ms. Clark and members of the board, I'd like to humbly request that we start a new precedent here in Alachua County. That starting tonight and going forward, whoever wins Teacher of the Year, and I can promise you that Mr. Tapley and Ms. Norris deserve it far, far more than I do. But whoever wins Teacher of the Year, I'd like to ask that we give 2 awards. One for the Teacher of the Year and one for the teacher that inspired them. Because without Mr. Carr, there is no Forge. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Good night.
So as you were enjoying your refreshments and coming in the door tonight, I hope that you enjoyed getting your picture taken by our folks and our sponsors with SWI. They came on board a few years ago, and we've been so happy to have them as a partner for this event. Because they do so much work within our schools, with our yearbooks and the school photos, it was sort of a natural fit, so to speak. But when I started talking to Jeff Wilkeson, who's going to speak in just a few seconds, I realized that it's so much more than just, photos and yearbooks, although that makes such a big impact. I still have my high school yearbooks. Try not to look at them super often to see what I used to look like way back then, but they also are a company that's been based in Gainesville for a long time and really truly care about our community. As I think he might be mentioning, he's also an Alachua County graduate. And so I love to have businesses, we love having businesses who really truly embody our county and our public school system. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jeff Wilkinson from SWI.
Thank you. Well, this is intimidating, speaking in front of a room full of educators. I feel like I'm back in school at Fort Clark or Buchholz, giving a class presentation. Honestly, I never enjoyed that very much. My name is Jeff Wilkinson, president of SWI Photography. It's truly an honor to be a part of this celebration tonight. SWI was established in 1972 and is a second-generation school portrait and yearbook company. We are a family-owned small business located just a few miles down the road. Our company works exclusively with schools, and we feel blessed to have worked with many of you through the years. Having a child graduate high school recently and working in schools daily, I have seen the positive impact a teacher can have on a child's life. Alexander the Great said, "I am indebted to my father for living, but to my teacher for living well." I believe this is true today. Many teachers go above and beyond what's required in the classroom, and tonight we get to recognize a few of them for their outstanding work and dedication to our children. Therefore, it's my privilege to present this year's Middle School Teachers of the Year.
So each year, starting now, you're going to get information about.
Here from Fort Clark, Tracy R. Scott.
As a school counselor, I want to make sure that students are empowered with the knowledge that they need in order to be successful in the world. So once they graduate high school, it's very important that they are able to fulfill their role in the world. So our state is actually the first state to have this.
From Aquin Jones, Lissa Montmarquette.
So Reggie, you gonna help me start taping the emotions?
So what I do?
Okay. I work really hard to break down the barriers that many of my students come with regard to how they feel about education and what they think about education and the possibilities for their life. So Reggie, what do you got there? What's your first emotion? Overwhelmed.
From Kanapaha, Eric Long.
So the areas around rivers and lakes are usually green and lush. I think these guys have a lot of potential, and I think these guys are going to take our country, our society in the right direction. And I'm just happy that I can be a part of it and be here to be a good, positive role model and inspire them to go on to be good, positive role models themselves. Cool. So rich soil in coastal plains and river valleys was excellent for growing.
From Lincoln, Harold Hoskins.
6 minus 0 is 6, 0 and 0 is 0, 10. I'm trying to make the curriculum relatable to real life skills, trying to teach the students skills that they'll use every day in life, not only just math. I feel like that's my purpose in life, to help people. I want to change the world. All right, so what's the first thing I need to do? Add my zeros, right?
Yeah, I don't do that.
But you don't have to. If you got it, you got it.
From Mabane, Todd Spina.
Write a linear function f with the given values. It's my responsibility to offer a safe environment for students to learn and succeed, overcome their obstacles, face their fears, challenges, providing that atmosphere for them to fail and then learn how to overcome those obstacles. So A40 becomes 40.
From Oakview, Liz Thompson.
Right, like.
Well, did you all decide what the answer was?
Depositions.
Okay. Science is all about the future. The way I try to do that in the classroom with these guys is to get them to, or help them learn to think like scientists. That means how to observe the world around us, formulate questions, think of ways that we can test out our questions and ideas. What causes wind?
From Westwood, Davis Falvey.
You're going to have to defend your response by giving some evidence. Why do you think change?
The future of our country, our community is in our schools. I see our schools as a microcosm of the larger society that we want in the future. It's a bit terrifying to know that that amount of responsibility lies on our shoulders as educators, but it's also very motivating. And so it's not just about American Indians and the English, it's also differences of beliefs within the colonies, differences in economic.
So here to introduce our middle school teacher of the year, Kirk Tapley, are Maddie Brown and Kaya Suvajij. They are currently 8th graders in the Academy of Technology and Advanced Studies at Howard Bishop Middle School. I would like to read something that Mr. Tapley has written about them. It said, "From the moment
Maddie and Kaya entered my classroom as sixth graders, I knew I was in the presence of special human beings. They work extremely hard, are nice to everyone, and are always trying to do what they believe is the right thing, regardless of how it might make them look in the eyes of their peers. While I'm sad that they are moving on to high school next year, I cannot wait to see how they continue to grow as people and make their corner of the world a better place to live.
Ever since we were fifth graders, leaving our comfortable elementary school lives to shadow at a big new middle school, we've admired and enjoyed being with Mr. Topley.
In sixth grade, Howard Bishop was a new and unfamiliar place. It's difficult to be with new teachers, classmates, and curriculum. Mr. Topley welcomed us into a family of open arms and made Howard Bishop a nurturing and safe community.
He incorporated fun into learning, keeping us focused and engaged in his class. When he's not rapping about the Euphrates River or allowing students to take the lead in teaching their classmates about places they've been, he's doing hands-on activities that require out-of-the-box ideas and creative thinking.
Mr. Tapley has not only been a great teacher to us, but he has supported us in our everyday lives. He has attended every one of our band concerts, chorus performances, and theater showcases, as well as many other school functions.
We feel we can always count on him and trust him to give us advice and reassurance with our worries. Mr. Tapley spends his time trying to find solutions instead of dreading the problems in life.
He helps better not only our academic futures, but also takes scheduled days to teach us life skills that are important even after we've completed school, such as full-on demonstrations on how to change a tire or balance a checkbook.
Even after we've graduated sixth grade, we've kept solid connections with Mr. Tapley. Our everyday high fives and handshakes never fail to brighten our days.
His constant efforts do not go unnoticed, and his undying commitment to better each of his students' lives don't only make him a great teacher, but a great human being.
It's a pleasure to have such an amazing role model in our lives. Mr. Tapley inspires us to do our best in anything that we devote our time to, and never fails to bring a smile to our faces.
What sets Mr. Tapley apart from other teachers is that he makes sure we always feel loved and appreciated. Thank you for everything you've done for us, Mr. Tapley. Our middle school experiences would not have been the same without you.
And now, without further ado, our wonderful teacher, Mr. Tapley.
The big mountain range, highest mountain range. What's the highest mountain range?
What's it
in the
called?
world?
What's it called? Himalayas.
Okay.
Himalayas, and then it brings down the air, and it comes down over here, and then it stops.
The correct answer is Vedas. So, Brahmins are the very top of the social class system with the priests and the academics. Hello, my name is Kirk Tapley, and I am the 6th grade advanced world history teacher at the Howard Bishop Middle School. Go Hawks. My goal for the speech tonight is to not tell you anything you don't already know, but to remind you of some things you may have forgotten through the daily grind of being an educator. Reminding you of some of the things that make being an educator one of the most worthwhile things somebody can do with their life. Now, before I can even begin to do that, though, there are two very important people, actually three, that I need to thank. To my mom and my dad, my first two educators, my first two teachers. Ooh, let's not get emotional. You two are the definition of lead by example. Even though it was never spoken directly, Kyle and I knew that the two most important rules in our household were to be humble and to always be the hardest worker in any room that we entered. But let me let y'all in on a little secret though. It's kind of hard and difficult to be the hardest worker in the room when from the ages of 0 to 18, 90% of your free time was spent in the same room as my parents, Craig and Trish Tapley. Mom, Dad, along with Kyle, y'all are the backbone of everything that I am today and a major reason why I am standing up here as the Alachua County Middle School Teacher of the Year. I love y'all so much. Now, when speaking of education and all the nuances that come with participating in it, we must start with the most important integral piece in the whole equation, the students. And let me tell y'all, being a middle school teacher is the best. Because when you are a middle school teacher, you get to answer life's hardest hitting questions. Questions like, will I attend the wedding of two students that have been dating for a whole day? We're talking 24 hours, people. You get to answer questions like, would you rather have 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? Which is a true question that was asked to me. And last but not least, and probably most importantly in my opinion, Is it possible to become impervious to the toxicity of Axe body spray if you are exposed to walking through a cloud of it every day? Right? In all seriousness, though, the students are the most important part. And make no mistake about it, even though they are exceptional, they are not the exception. Myself, as well as everybody else that is in attendance tonight, are blessed to work with and teach students that are just like them. Students that no matter what circumstances they are going through, no matter how tough they are, they show up every single day and they give us their best. Now, and I don't know about y'all, but in my classroom, they are the direction and they are my best customer, and whatever they need to succeed is where we go. Educator Michael Bonner once said, "You can't make a withdrawal from someone you never invested in." And my favorite president, Theodore Roosevelt, once said, "People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care." So I make sure to dedicate time every day to invest in my students, not only the ones that are in my class, but the ones that come to Howard Bishop every single day. For me, this looks like taking my planning period and walking through the hallways to make sure that everybody's having a good day and just having that moment to talk to students, dedicating one short lunch period, one day a week, to sit with them at lunch and make sure that they are doing great instead of going to make copies, and of course, showing up to their extracurricular activities. Because I invest in the lives of my students, they then want to work for me, and more than that, just incredibly, they show up at your Teacher of the Year ceremony with signs over there and over there and in the back. I feel very grateful to have been a teacher or continue to be a teacher. As I was saying, though, most importantly, they learn. Because we invest in them, they then want to work for us. This leads to them learning to appreciate silence in a world that never quiets down, learning to actively listen instead of just waiting for their turn to talk, and to be humble in the face of success, but hungry to figure out where the height of their potential lies. And yes, teaching is exhausting. But let's be honest here, right? I cannot tell you the amount of times I've gotten home and I've went to sit down for just 2 seconds and I've almost fallen asleep. Like, it is a staggering amount of times. But if we are honest, at the end of the day, it is all completely worth it, because there is no better kind of exhausted than a "we just changed lives" kind of exhausted. Now, before I wrap this speech up, I normally end every class with a challenge to my students, so it's only right that I bring 2 challenges to all of you in attendance tonight. I recently read that in cities where there's a major university, it can be estimated that a majority of the voting public lives in a household where there's either not a student in public education at all, or someone that works in K through 12 public education professionally, or sometimes even both. Because of this, they often don't know what is happening in classrooms across their district, so when it comes time for them to get into the voting booth, they often look at public education as something they pay for rather than something they invest in. So my first challenge to all of you is to make sure that our district, or even just your zip code, knows what is happening on your campus. Invite them in to volunteer. Set up a school social media page with a unique hashtag for the community to interact with and learn about what is happening at your campus. This way, when they do come on, they will see all the positivity that is there. Secondly, I challenge you to make the learning happening on your campus, like Mr. Forgione said, authentic and relevant. That way, when the community does come onto campus, they leave excited. They leave and they tell everyone about the great work that is happening at your school. And the greatest way to make this happen is through something that I still struggle with myself: foregoing the reliance on textbooks and worksheets to teach our students in favor for a way that sets your soul on fire, a way that makes you wake up excited and go to bed satisfied. Because you see, in my opinion, expecting a child to learn only from a worksheet or a textbook is like handing them a travel brochure and calling it a vacation. Plus, doing that every day can get boring for you as well and mundane, and so you just, sometimes you need a break. So instead, take the things you are passionate about and insert them into your school day. For me, and my students can tell you this looks like obnoxiously lip-syncing to songs as I greet students at the door, rapping as my alter ego DJ Globe Up as we do our history cipher review of what we covered the day before, and remixing popular songs to be historically relevant, just so I can include as much music as possible. For me, this also means taking a break from the history curriculum on the last Friday of every month to teach life skills like how to write a check, how to change a flat tire, and how to conduct yourself in a job interview, because after all, I cannot guarantee that they are going to learn these skills in the future. So, whether it's baking, loving a sports team, or any host of other activities, I want to encourage all of you to put yourself into your curriculum. And administrators, I want to encourage all of you to support your teachers so that when they do take this risk into an unfamiliar territory, they know that they have the support to fail and fall forward. I promise you that it will be a benefit to your students. So in closing, Bishop T.G. Jakes once said, "I would hate to die and have never done the thing that I was born to do." Right? I just love that quote. I would hate to die and have never done the thing that I was born to do. And I feel blessed that for the past 4 years, I've been able to partake in what I was placed on this earth to do: educate students while inspiring them to figure out what they are great at and chase it relentlessly. Thank you and have a great night.
Good evening. I'm Carmen Ward. I am the Alachua County Education Association president, and I'm humbled and honored to be here with the Teachers of the Year. The ACEA is proud to recognize outstanding teachers in Alachua County. Through the Robert W. Hughes Teacher of the Year program, and I'm happy to say we have been a partner since the very beginning. I am also pleased to announce that in addition to being recognized on stage here tonight, each of our teacher honorees are receiving a check for $500. These funds have been generously donated by the sponsors you see listed in the program. Teachers are also receiving bags that have been filled with gifts donated by some of our sponsors and will be handed our signature crystal apples, and they look like this. Generously donated by Sparks Guybe Insurance and Investments. Mrs. Roy already announced to you our 3 presenting sponsors: Cox Communications, Florida Credit Union, and SWI Photographers. And we are so grateful for their support. I would also like to point your attention to our A+ Honor Roll $1,000 level sponsors: Collaborative Wealth, Public Supermarkets Charities, Rotary Club of Gainesville, Skate Station, and Splits. Please give these wonderful sponsors a round of applause.
So the last of our 3 presenting sponsors, and of course certainly not least, is Cox Communications. And I would like to invite Maureen Tartaglione to the stage. Well, she's on the stage, but to come up and stay next to me. But Maureen, I've known Maureen ever since I started working at the Education Foundation 8 years ago. And even when I was just a peon intern, she was always so kind, and it was clear from the very beginning that she had a real heart, not just for our public schools, but for our entire community. Every event that we go to, Cox is always there, supporting the community, and they're one of the initiatives that they started a few years ago was the Connect to Compete program, to ensure that all of our students and families, regardless of their socioeconomic status, could have access to low-cost internet. And so I would like to announce, to invite Maureen to say a few words before our elementary school teachers.
Thank you. This is always one of my favorite events of the year because I am a proud product of the Alachua County Public Schools. More importantly, I consider myself a product of Alachua County Public School teachers. I was fortunate enough to be mentored by teachers in Alachua County, and from that experience, I gained at least 3 things. First, I benefited from having teachers who actively engaged me. I was a shy and introverted girl who was from the first generation of her family to even dream of going to college in this country, and I was off to a rough start. But in elementary school and middle school, I had teachers who noticed me and didn't let me fall through the cracks, even though I tried as hard as I possibly could to blend into the wallpaper. Of course, back then it was more institutional green cinder block, but. In high school, I had teachers who taught me what classes to take, what extracurricular activities to engage in, and in no uncertain terms, when I needed to step up my game and get out of my comfort zone. My teachers helped me get into college and instilled in me a lifelong love of community service. I'm happy to say that almost 40 years later, one of them is still among my biggest cheerleaders. Second, I learned that I needed mentors. It taught me to force myself to seek them out in college, and I found them. My college teachers found me money, put me up for awards, and because of them, I was awarded a free ride to graduate school, a teaching assistantship. I'm happy to say that more than 30 years later, some of them are still among my biggest cheerleaders. Third, from the moment I stepped foot into the classroom as a teacher, I knew the importance of being a mentor, and I paid it forward. I especially sought out first-generation college students and those with special challenges. And after more than 20 years of teaching, first as a graduate teaching assistant and then hired back as an adjunct, I'm happy to say I'm still in touch with many of those students, and I am among their biggest cheerleaders. I wanted to share this with you today because it occurred to me that you don't always get to see the end result of what you have started or are starting in motion. Maybe you don't all get the letter that Mr. Forge got, but there's certainly thousands of people out there right now who are thinking of writing you that letter. Maybe they just haven't gotten it to you yet. As for me, I was able to translate that love of community service and teaching into a vocation such that every position I've held in my fortunate career has entailed one or both. And I was able to secure a position with a company that was founded by a former educator, James M. Cox, and to this day recognizes the importance of supporting education and the greater community. Because of that, I am afforded the honor of being here to help recognize you for the superstars that you are, because for me and countless others who are living their dream, it all started with Alachua County public school teachers like you. Thank you very much.
Does anybody know another way that we could go and do this exact same
From Archer, Belinda Howerton.
problem that might actually be an easier way to do it? The only thing that is actually constant is change. So preparing my children to adapt to changes that are happening in the world, to be able to find solutions for real world problems. Dividing or multiplying?
Dividing.
So,
From Childs, Karen Tabor.
What are the other 2 letters that finish the word sap? When I was growing up as a child, there were not as many professions or careers that there are now. And I want my children to be able to see that with time and with a lot of learning and a lot of love, they can do any of these things and that they can make an impact and a difference in so many different ways. Excellent. So now, on the next side, there are segments of it.
From Duval, Marjorie Barrows.
It's a new word, gifts. Miguel, can you take the gifts and put them in the sentence? Every child deserves a voice. In order to be successful in school, in the workplace, and in society, the future does begin in this classroom. Teaching them words, sounds, so that they can become a productive student and productive member of society. Sack.
From J.J. Finley, Stephanie Walker.
783 divided by 5. That's the problem we're being asked, right? Let's go ahead and put 783 in the house. While reading and math are fundamentally important, I have a lot more to teach, and so to prepare them, we celebrate cultural diversity in our classroom. We look at the different belief systems of other people, and so that they can learn to accept others. Remember, anytime we divide or multiply, we have to go through.
From Foster, Cammie Hemrick.
Today we're going to be making some inferences, and we're going to be doing it when they leave my classroom. I want them to leave independent and creative individuals, and not only leave with knowledge that they gain from books, but knowledge that they gain for life skills. Okay, so what is she doing?
It looks like she's setting the table, or it sounds like she's setting the table.
Okay, and did it explicitly?
From Glen Springs, Kayla Sutcliffe.
What do you notice? What do you wonder? And then we're going to have one question. I try to give my kids real problems, and I try to make it as hard as possible, which is sometimes rough, but definitely appropriate. So I try to give them challenges in the classroom so they can take those skills like perseverance and problem solving to transfer over into the real world. Oh, you're raising it 5 more? Why did you raise it 5 more?
From Hidden Oak, Andrea Mesa.
The first number we're going to factor is 24. Once you're done factoring, I want to know if it's a prime or composite number. We talk a lot about being a good citizen, to be a good person, and not just what it means to be a good student. And I like to lead by example and show them that kindness is always the way. Ooh, I love the way I see Reagan and Yasmina dividing.
From High Springs, Wanda Maxie Rowe.
Good morning, girls. Hi, everybody. Group hug, group hug. I want these students to come to school knowing that school is a safe, loving environment. I want them to have self-respect so that they can respect others. And I want them to be successful at school. And do the shark fin down. Shh, shh, shh.
From Idlewild, Kelly Taxier.
OW can say either ow, like you can get hurt, or when O and W are talking, O is going to talk and say his name. The problems my students will encounter personally and as a society will require risk-taking and creative solutions. And through creating a safe environment for them to take risks, they will be able to learn critical thinking skills to where they can solve the problems they encounter not only personally, but collectively as part of our society. Kenzie, was it ow, how? So where should H be?
From Irby, Julie Bryan.
Good. S-E-E. And here you have them again. Being a kindergarten teacher, my first job is to lay their academic foundation, but also to take care of physical needs, emotional needs, to prepare them to be well-rounded, stable, productive adults. Yes, good job. O-F spells of. Great work.
From Lake Forest, Kelly Kakbevi.
Once upon a time, there lived 3 little penguins. The penguins were very happy together. They grew up teaching kids about kindness and politeness, giving them the opportunity to show kindness to each other and to everybody they interact with. I think that's one of the most important things that is lost in today's society, that we need to be more kind and polite. All right, you're the 3 little...
From Littlewood, Jennifer Bracken.
I'm going to give you one of these so you can remember all the different things you're trying to look for. It's really about teaching the kid to be a better person as a whole, not just academics, but their social skills and getting to where they are feeling proud of themselves inside and making sure they keep a positive image of themselves. See how it has the picture and then it has the little words underneath?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you can go ahead.
From Meadowbrook, Laura Ashley.
So is not would match the contraction. I feel a very strong responsibility to keep the health of our environment and our earth forefront in teaching. And one of the ways that I do that with my class is by taking care of our organic garden here at Meadowbrook and providing that produce into the cafeteria. Wouldn't. Very good job.
From Metcalf, Lisa Madola.
That's it. I'm Jay, Jamaria. My responsibility is to teach my students about the world and how to live in it. If you think students who are differently abled can't make a difference, they can. My hero is Greta Thunberg, who is a student with autism, who is leading the way into a new decade.
D. H-A-D. Very good. Okay,
What's this word?
From Newberry Elementary, Kelly Wyckoff.
Perfect. Let's see what you have for me.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 52, 53.
After a year in my classroom, I want these students to realize that when they go out in the world, they can do anything they want, they can be anything they want, and I hope they take the love of learning and reading with them on that journey. And in the ones column, how many are we going to place?
2.
2, very good.
From Norton, Tristan Valentine.
Holly, how many syllables does Holly have?
2.
How do you know? Right now, they don't have any limitations, and I don't want to set limitations on them. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel safe and loved. I want them to want to learn and enjoy learning. They come into my room and they work as a team. We're not Miss Valentine's class, we're Miss Valentine's team. How did it make all those people feel?
Good.
Yeah? Why?
From Rawlings, Donald DeVito.
1, 2, ready, and... The future of the world in my classroom takes on a very literal sense because our students have a program where we actually Skype and engage both academically and in music education with universities and programs all over the world. Ethan, let me hear yours. Dun, 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 dun.
From Shell, Danae Bowles.
Can you guys imagine computers? In this paragraph it said, in our classroom we try to instill that these kids can do anything they put their minds to. So my job is to give them the tools to do that, to show them that they can take the route to college or career, and helping them take charge of their own learning. Why do you think that word skilled is underlined, Joseph?
It's important.
From Talbot, Sarah Bolton.
Okay, make the number 5 and 5,200. Now more than ever, we have to teach more than just the academic. We have to show our kids how to be kind, compassionate, forgiving, and how to learn from their mistakes so we can make the world a better place. Great job. Perfect. Okay, new number.
From Terwilliger, Pam Dudak.
Let's make the word mat. Okay. Now we do activities where we share, we communicate, and we teach life skills. I want them to have the confidence that they can contribute to society and to the classroom and to the world when they leave here. It's an F, and it makes what sound? You got the sound right.
From Wiles, Stacy Polvier.
And your teachers had amazing things to say about many of you. I am the BRT at Kimball Wiles. I feel like my work with the young children we have here can change the world, and I am happy to showcase gentlemen that I've been working with because these young men are going to change the world. They're amazing young men who we work with to help them become the best selves that they could ever be. I heard from Miss Maloney that you are doing amazing.
From Williams, Decoria Brown.
We already know that before they started using the Navajo language, they used another Native American language, right? It's a huge responsibility to really take care and nurture the students in our classes because they are our future. They will be leading this country someday and making decisions for us as we age, and they'll be taking care of us one day. So if they're saying shush, something, shush.
Now I'd like to invite Bianca Cavuto to the stage and share a little bit, and while she's coming, I'll share a little bit about her written by Miss Norris. Bianca was in my 5th grade class last year at Alachua Elementary. She is now in the 6th grade at Mabane Middle School. Bianca is a true example of why I teach. She has gone through a lot in her young life, but always puts one foot in front of the other and conquers life with a smile. I adore Bianca and her family, and I'm so thankful for their love and support. Bianca has such a bright future ahead of her, and I can't wait to see the impact she makes on the world.
When Miss Norris first asked me to speak about her, I was ecstatic, but also very scared to talk in front of so many people. I knew I had to do this because I would never want to let Miss Norris down. When I first moved here from Miami, I had a good teacher, but then she left in the middle of the year. I struggled with my confidence when she left and was super scared about 5th grade. When I saw Miss Norris's room on Meet the Teacher night, I knew 5th grade was going to be the best year ever, and I was right. Because of all the changes from moving and losing my teacher during my 4th grade year, my math and reading skills dropped. Thanks to Miss Norris, I became better in all my subjects. She always made learning fun. We made paper airplanes out of different materials in order to practice the scientific method. We made pancakes when we studied physical and chemical changes. And we had a neon glow day where we used black lights and highlighters to show the phases of the moon, complete math problems, and to find evidence in reading. She always taught things in the easiest way, and she made little songs for almost everything we learned. Miss Norris really cares about her education, but she is also hysterical. I remember all of the songs and dances she taught us that helped us remember little things. It was pretty funny because she isn't that great of a singer or dancer. Sorry, Miss Norris. She also videoed her husband doing math problems and let us correct all of his mistakes. We all got a laugh out of that. She made class fun and we were never bored. We always wanted to do our best because we wanted to make her proud. At the beginning of 5th grade, she told us that we were a family, and she meant it. She told us that she would trust us and that we can trust her. That made me want to be there even more. I can feel that she cared about all of us and wanted us to succeed. She is the first teacher that I've ever had where I can tell how much she cared about her students. I have problems feeling safe and trusting people because of personal things I've gone through in the past. She always from the beginning made me feel safe. She let me stay in the classroom many afternoons to help her organize the room in order to get my mind off of things. If I was down, she asked if I was okay. She always knew when something was wrong. I can't explain how much that meant to me. For middle school, I thought about moving back to Miami, but I didn't want to lose the family I gained in 5th grade. I want all of you to know how special Miss Norris is to me and everyone else that knows her. I couldn't put it into words, so I asked other students that had Miss Norris as a teacher to tell me what they love about her. And this is what they had to say. When my mom died, Miss Norris did not let anyone say bad things about her. She helped me out when I would get mad and would calm me down so I can get back to work. Another student wrote, Miss Norris is the best teacher to me. If you get in trouble, she'll give you another chance to fix your attitude. If you don't understand something in class, she'll teach you until you get it. Also, if you are feeling sad, she'll be by your side and will make you happy. To sum up all of the reasons Miss Norris deserves to be on the stage is pretty hard to explain in a few minutes. She has helped me in ways that can't be found on a report card or a test score. Anyone who has been in her classroom can tell you too, because she is extraordinary. She is one of those teachers you'll remember when you're old. Maybe tonight's theme should be Teacher of a Lifetime. Please join me in giving her a big round of applause, Miss Norris.
Find that place value, underline that digit. Move to the right and circle it, get it? 0 through 4, the underlined digit stays the same. 5 through 9, add 1 is the game. All right, stop there, Shania. Does anybody know what our product should look like based off of these? It's going to be a decimal number. Is it going to get larger because we're multiplying, or is it going to get smaller?
It's going to get smaller. Smaller? Because the other number is decimal 64.
Oh, is there a whole number in this decimal, Zion?
I want to start out by saying that I do teach elementary school, so my speech may not be as profound, but it comes from the heart. I first want to say what an honor it is to receive this award. However, when hearing that I would represent all of the elementary teachers in Alachua County, truthfully, I felt pretty inadequate. There are such an amazing array of educators in Alachua County, but I realized quickly that I am just a vessel that is being used to represent all of the amazing people that positively impact the children in our community. There is an old African proverb that states, "It takes a village to raise a child." This could not be more true. This is my village. Excuse me. Growing up with parents who were both educators, I quickly realized that teaching was not a job, but a calling. I was able to witness the dedication they had for their students, the late nights grading papers, and the love and compassion they showed for kids that were not biologically theirs. I even got to partake in the lamination and letter cutout parties at the LRC. I am so thankful that I had such great role models that allowed me to recognize my calling as a teacher. They are my village. My husband also plays such a supportive role in my job as an educator. He listens to my endless stories about my amazing kids. He allows me to vent on hard days, and he shares my desire to love and support the kids, especially the ones who may not see it elsewhere. My husband puts up with the fact that things disappear from the house and end up in my classroom. Sorry about the patio furniture. He allows me to use his deficit in math skills to provide learning opportunities for my students. And he never says no to my plea of, please, I have to have this for my classroom. Not only does he support me, but he gives a part of himself also. He brings my students donuts when I've bragged about how good they've done. He's packed up his own clothes and shoes and sent them to school with me because I talked about a student who didn't have any. Sorry. And he helps me talk to the tough kid at the football field because he knows what it was like to grow up feeling like he wasn't loved. He is my village. My 2 biological children also play an integral part of my job. My sweet kids have gone into some tough places with me because I wanted to show a community that I was there for their whole child, not just a test score. My kids have played kickball and brought lunches to kids in neighborhoods that they didn't even know existed. They have formed friendships with my students who may not have the luxuries of life like they do. They've donated their own toys, school supplies, and books because they want to make sure that my kids have what they need. They allow me to use them as examples in my classroom, and as their teachers can attest, boy, do I have stories to tell about them. And they so humbly understand when I say, don't eat those are for my students, or don't open that, that's for my classroom. They even graciously stuff Christmas stockings full of little gifts for each of my students every year. Avery and Ashton are my village. I work with some of the most amazing people in Alachua County. I am lucky to work alongside such hardworking people who don't always receive the recognition that they deserve. Our custodians always have our classrooms neat and clean, never complaining about the extra cleanup because we use glitter, or the clogged sink because of a science experiment gone wrong. Our food service workers work tirelessly to serve our students breakfast, 2 snacks, and lunch because they know that that might be the only hot meal that they receive that day. Our office staff serves as the first smiling face some students see as they come to school. I seriously have no idea how they multitask like they do and still have time to remind me to take attendance. And the teachers I work with, they are some of the hardest working people I know. They make coming to school even more fun, especially one-of-a-kind teachers like Miss Young, who's here, who is not only a colleague but a friend. We share the same teaching style, love for the kids, and crazy lesson ideas. My amazing principal, Miss Harbor, really took a chance hiring me. Moving back to Gainesville from South Carolina, she hired me based off of referrals, never having seen me teach. She even opened the school the summer I moved back here so I can unload a huge U-Haul full of classroom decor. I still wonder what she was thinking when I showed up with a U-Haul and hand trucks. My administrators are on a mission to meet the needs of every child, and I am so thankful I get to work alongside them. It is an honor to teach in the district that provided me with my education growing up. Moving away for college, I never dreamed that I would end up back right down the road from my childhood home teaching in a school. I am so thankful to work for a district that has amazing superintendent, instructional coaches, and district staff that go above and beyond for our community. I appreciate the opportunity to represent a district that values not only education, but also the students, parents, teachers, staff, and administration. Alachua County is my village. Last but not least, I owe so much to my amazing students and their families. Parents, thank you for entrusting me to teach your children. Thank you for allowing me to team up with you to help your child learn and grow. I would not be standing here today if it wasn't for our little classroom family. Parents and family, you complete our village. I realize that the future of the world is in my classroom right now. My desire is for my students to become thinkers, dreamers, and risk takers. I want them to show compassion, empathy, and kindness. I want my students to be leaders, stand up for what's right, and have good character. I want my students to grow up and become the village so that they can teach the younger generation all of these things. The future of the world is in my classroom, and I am so thankful for you guys, the village, who is putting in the work to make our future brighter than it's ever been. Thank you, guys.
If the event is named after you and you started it, then that means you get to announce the winner. So I want to invite Bob Hughes, who came all the way from North Carolina. Sorry our weather couldn't be better for you, to announce our Alachua County Teacher of the Year. So will you give him a round of applause, please?
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. If you had told me 28 years ago that I would be standing here tonight at the Teacher of the Year program, I probably would have thought you were crazy. I never dreamed the vision we had at that time, working with Jackie Johnson and a steering committee and our foundation and school board, that support would continue to be the most important event I think happens all year long, and that's this Teacher of the Year program. I think teachers are taken for granted, and expectations are so high that people need to know they're appreciated and how important they are in this world. So we have recognized a lot of teachers in the last 28 years, including school board member, superintendent, have been Teachers of the Year, and many, many more. It's a tremendous sense of pride for me to be able to attend this event each year, and I want to thank the school board, the superintendent, the foundation, and all the folks that support this and all the people that are here tonight. It's a tremendous event, and I'm really proud to be part of it. And now I'm going to announce the 2020 Teacher of the Year as soon as I get this envelope open. For Alachua County, it is Kurt Tapley, Bishop Middle School.
I'm going to try to make this quick because I know tomorrow's Friday. We got to get up and go back to it. But here is the deal. One of the quotes, if you couldn't tell from my speech, I love quotes. One of the quotes that I really try to live my life by is from an actor that I just love named John Wayne. And he says, "The height of your success is directly equal to the depth of your gratitude." So while this plaque and this award is going to be kept at my house, know that there are tons of people that have supported me along the way. My parents, as I talked about earlier, they had very important unspoken rules, but one of the spoken rules that they had in our house was that you need to know that success is never achieved individually. Success always comes with somebody else standing behind you and pushing you towards where you want to go. And I'm very grateful that I have tons of people that have supported me along the way, whether it's my dance company family that's in the first 2 rows right there, who I didn't know they were coming tonight, whether it's students that are out in the audience, just supporting me every step of the way, whether it's my family, who I love very much, my godparents. I also work with some incredible people at Howard Bishop Middle School. I love them very dearly. It's very, very funny to me now, 4 years in, whenever substitute teachers come on, because I love to dress in costume, and whenever they see me in costume, they're like, "What is he doing?" And all the other teachers are like, "Oh, that's just Mr. Tapley." Right? So, as I want to say, but also I just want to thank everybody in this room, because the work that you do is very important. The elementary faculty and staff, the kids that you teach then become my kids, and so I want to thank you for loving them and giving them the guidance to come on to elementary school, or from elementary school to middle school, and I want to thank the high school faculty and staff for taking my babies that are in 8th grade and they go to high school and loving them for what they are. So with that being said, thank you very much. Let's go dominate the next 4 months and have a great rest of your school year.